Coming up on the February 19th edition of Sports Extra, the men's basketball team feasted on some Kentucky Fried Cardinal Saturday night.
The Heels were chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and they were playing some lax outside the school.
And it was opening weekend for the baseball team in Tampa. All that and so much more, Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Media and Journalism, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
It was one of the busiest sport weekends here of the academic year, and we've got it all covered. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Natalie Harden.
And I'm Moses Masilu. First up, we go away from Chapel Hill to the Bluegrass State. In a critical game for ACC standings and conference tournament seeding, Carolina visited the Yum Center on Saturday to take on the Cardinals. UNC had never won on the road against Louisville, ever. But the Heels were out to change that. It was NBA All-Star Weekend, so Joel Berry decided to have himself a three-point shootout. He hit not one, not two, not three, but 4 three-pointers in the first half. Steph Curry would be so proud. In the second half, Theo Pinson decided it was time for the skills challenge. Check out this wild scoop and score at the bucket. We've seen Theo do that a million times, but it never gets old. But Luke May said layups are for pansies. I'm going for the slam dunk contest. He goes around his defender for the two-handed jam. Judges, yes, all 10s for Luke, and he wasn't done. Guarded closely at the arc, Luke decides it's time to do a Dirk Nowitzki impression, and he hits the clutch tray off 1 foot. The game wasn't sealed though. Louisville gets a runoff of this miss, but here comes Joel Berry with the LeBron chase down, and Berry's block helped the Heels maintain an arm strength lead down the stretch. Carolina wins 93-76. That win made it 5 straight for the Heels as they continue on the regular season's home stretch. And here to drop some knowledge is basketball analyst Michael Coe. Michael, what stood out to you on Saturday night?
Moses, the biggest takeaway I had from this game was effort. One team had a far superior level of effort in the Yum Center, and that team was wearing Carolina blue. Coach Williams has always wanted to have the team that gives the most effort, and he must have been pleased after Saturday's win. The Heels tallied 22 second chance points against the Cardinals. Now check out this play. Luke May leaves the shot short, but Anas Mahmoud doesn't run to the ball. May does. He misses the second chance opportunity, and look at this, Mahmoud still does not run after the ball, but look who does. Theo Pinson dumps it off to Cam Johnson underneath the basket, and high effort rewards the Heels with 2 points. And this is my favorite play of the season so far, so let's see it again. Joel Berry misses the jumper, and rather than hang his head, he gets back to surprise Ray Spalding with the chase down block. That really sealed the game for the Heels, as the Cardinals never got closer than 8 after that. The effort was all there for Carolina on Saturday, and they'll need that same level to succeed in the postseason. But you know, we're not there yet. Next up for the Heels is another tough road game, as they'll visit the Carrier Dome Wednesday to take on Syracuse. The Orange are coming off a quality road win at Miami and have won 6 of 9 after a 4-game losing streak. You know the Qs love the 2-3 zone defense. Syracuse is 10th in the country, allowing only 63.4 points per game. On the offensive side, the Heels will have to contain guard Tyus Battle. The 6'6 sophomore is averaging almost 20 points per game, including a 34-point performance against Wake earlier this month. Look for either Kenny Williams or Pinson to guard Battle on Wednesday night. But Moses, I'd be foolish if I didn't mention the FBI's investigation of corruption in college basketball. One source has said that Hall of Fame coaches should be scared, and that almost half of the 16 teams in the NCAA's initial bracket reveal would be affected. Now, Carolina was among those 16, but Roy Williams had this to say: "I feel very comfortable. If the phone rings at night, I'm not worried about that. I may worry about a lot of other things, but it ain't about that." Now, Roy's confidence would seem to be a good sign for Tar Heels fans because, Moses, I think the last thing this fan base needs is another investigation. Back to you.
That's basketball analyst Michael Coe live in the studio. Thanks, Michael.
Smith, Guthridge, Williams, Jordan, Jamison, Hansbrough. Carolina's men's basketball has some legendary names and memorable moments in its more than 100-year history. Adam Jordan shows us one man who's been on the sideline for more than a third of it.
When men's basketball official scorekeeper Mark Isley arrives at the Smith Center before every home game, he reflects on how fortunate he's been to be so close to a legendary program for so long. I know because I sit right next to him.
I'm blessed to be a part of it, to be a small part of it.
His career at Carolina began right on the heels of a national championship.
I enrolled in '82 and was a JV manager, so I've been involved one way or another ever since then.
His days as scorekeeper stretched to even before the Tar Heels won their second national championship in 1993.
So I started keeping the backup scorebook in '91, and I became the official scorekeeper in 2002.
Isley credits one man for the overall success Carolina basketball has enjoyed through the years.
Well, Coach Smith set the standard, but that family atmosphere that you hear about, it's not a marketing slogan, it's real. You know, there's just all the principles he instilled in us. It just keeps getting passed down, and it's a really tight-knit thing.
One player Isley got to know well was Michael Jordan.
There was a pool table in the basement of Granville South. There was a Miss Pac-Man machine. If you set the high score, he tried to beat it. If you played a game of pool and you won, you didn't leave.
Having been around so many of the greats of Carolina basketball and having a front row seat for 4 national championships, it's safe to say Mark Isley has seen just about everything there is to see with this storied program. I'm Adam Jordan reporting.
It's been almost 40 seasons for Isley, and he says he's ready to go another 40.
It was another exciting weekend for the men's lacrosse team, which took on Lehigh in a highly contested match. The game kicked off with a goal from sophomore Justin Anderson just 31 seconds in, but Lehigh quickly rallied and met Carolina point for point, forcing a number of turnovers. With 7 seconds left in the first half, William Perry put the Heels up 8-7. In the second, the back and forth in scoring continued. After Lehigh edged ahead, junior Timmy Kelly sent one home, earning his career high and sending the Heels to overtime for the second week in a row. The Heels needed something special in overtime, and William Perry provided, putting away the golden goal 36 seconds into overtime to win the match 12-11. Hit it with the stick flip Jose Batista style, the Heels will head to Baltimore next Friday to take on Johns Hopkins.
Coming off a disheartening season opening loss, the women's lacrosse team looked to nab its first win this season Friday on the road against High Point. The Tar Heels went on a 7-2 run in the first half, and the road performance by Jamie Ortega, Marie McCool, and El Hazar. Just a freshman, Ortega had a breakout game, scoring 3 goals in the first half. McCool also chipped away with 3 goals. As she starts off the penalty and bam, connects with the back of the net for the score. Carolina never let the lead go, and they took home its first win of the season, 14-10. And Sunday against Liberty, it was not even close. The Heels jumped out to a 15-1 halftime lead, and it was basically done deal from there. Marie McCool led the way, tying her career high with 7 goals with 8 shots. Watch here, she weaves her way in out of defenders, puts the ball in the back of the net, and that's it. 8 Carolina players scored on the day, led by Marie McCool and Ortega. Carolina scored 23 goals on the day, 1 goal short of the school record. And for more about the Tar Heels' start to the lacrosse season, we bring in lacrosse analyst Paul Beam. Paul, should the fans be encouraged or concerned?
Well, Natalie, honestly, a bit of both. I'm going to start with the men's team because while these Heels are 3-0 on the season, 2 of those wins have come in overtime against inferior competition. Why have those games been so close? The answer is simple, really. Turnovers. In those 2 overtime wins, the Heels have forced 20 turnovers, but they also have 20 turnovers. Against better teams, the Heels are going to have to win their turnover battle. If Carolina doesn't, the difficult schedule could leave the team with double-digit L's on the season. The one positive the Heels can take away from these OT wins is they've been excellent in crunch time. Head coach Joe Bresci had a straightforward plan in OT against both Furman and High Point. Win the face-off, call a timeout, run a set play, score, and go home. I guess sometimes the simplest plan is the best plan because Carolina did exactly that to win both games. Now, while the women already do have an L on the board this season, I'd argue they've been more impressive out of the gates than the men have. And if you take a look at the preseason All-ACC player list, that shouldn't surprise you. Attacker Ella Hazar, midfielders Maggie Bill and Marie McCool, and defenseman Aaron Kelly will appear on the list, giving UNC 4 players. tied with Boston College for the most. The Tar Heels are also expected to win the ACC as the conference coaches pick them to finish first. Now, Natalie, I expect both squads to have a good year and to both make deep runs in the NCAA tournament. But if you ask me which team is more likely to win it all this year, I'm picking the ladies and their fearless leader, Jenny Levy, to bring home the program's third national title.
Fans hope that come late May, those Heels can pull a 2016 deja vu and take home both those titles that exact same weekend. That's Lacrosse analyst Paul Beam in the studio. Thanks, Paul.
Moving to the Diamond, the number 6 ranked Diamond Heels took on the South Florida Bulls in Tampa in the opening series of the season. In the bottom of the second, USF's Alec Wisely knocked in 2 runs with an RBI single, giving the Bulls an early 2-0 lead. USF scored again in the 4th and 5th innings, pushing the lead to 4-0. Finally, Michael Bush got the Heels on the board, blasting this 3-run homer that gave the Heels a jolt of life and bringing them within 1 run. The game came down to the 9th inning, with the Heels still trailing 4-3. Ashton McGee struck out to the end of the game, and the Bulls took the opener. It was a hot start that got the Tar Heels on the right track in the second game of their 3-game set. Catcher Brandon Martorano hit a 3-run homer in the first inning that would yield the Heels 6 runs and make starting pitcher Tyler Baum's job easier from the start. Second baseman Zach Gahagan was on a tear as well, going 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs as the Tar Heels took Game 2 of the series 12-5. In an exciting finale, the Heels started strong, leading USF 8-1 heading into the bottom of the 7th. Craving a little bit more excitement, UNC blew their lead, hitting 3 batters and conceding 4 walks, all in 1 inning. But thanks to Ike Freeman's solo home run in the top of the 10th, the Heels were able to finish the series on top, winning the game 9-8.
The champs are here.
The women's tennis team returned to action on Sunday after its national indoor championship win from a week ago.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. What? Picking a college, man. You and us go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Each one of our journeys keeps us.
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
We'll never get older. Each one
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Momentum was the name of the game Friday as the softball team took on Illinois to begin the ACC Big Ten Challenge. In the top of the 5th, things were tight as Illinois scored on a walk to tie the score 2-2, but the Tar Heels came back swinging and found some action, scoring 4 runs on 5 hits to take the lead. Then it was time for some small ball. Watch as Kiani Ramsey's sack bunts brings Taylor White all the way home. It was a victorious night for the underdog as UNC won 6-2. And on day 2, it was a doubleheader against Wisconsin and Illinois again. Facing the Badgers under gray skies, the Tar Heels found some sun as 7 Tar Heels recorded multi-hit games. Wisconsin sent a 3-run home run to left field last-ditch effort to top of the 7th, but Carolina took the dub 9-7. Against Illinois, Carolina didn't shine so brightly. The Illinois had some nice momentum from the start by loading the bases in the second and scoring 2 runs. Tensions were running high as Brittany Pickett threw her 4th ball and Illinois scored on the walk. Just listen to this Carolina fan right here. Sunday against Wisconsin, Hannah Nommensen made her career debut in the circle, pitching 1 2/3 innings. After the Badgers scored 3, Brittany Pickett tossed 5 1/2 third innings. Lee Murray extended her hitting streak to 9, and Sierra Parkins lengthened her streak also with this single. But the Tar Heels just couldn't find the rhythm and ended up coming up short, losing 6-0 to the Badgers. Carolina begins its 6 away home stretch Tuesday in South Carolina.
The women's tennis team was ready to remind everyone just why the Heels are ranked number 1 in the nation following the ITA National Indoor Championship last week. Carolina secured the doubles point against Michigan with great plays like this from Jessie Annie and Alexa Graham. The Heels won 3 out of the 4 singles matches that finished. UNC finished with a dub by a 4-1 score. This was the Heels' 11th straight win. Carolina is undefeated on the season. Next up for the Heels is not our rival NC State Wednesday at 3.
Meanwhile, the men's tennis team was in Seattle this weekend to take part in the ITA Indoor National Championship. Friday saw an easy Carolina victory past the previous undefeated Notre Dame squad. The Heels advanced to the quarterfinals against Texas A&M. The match against the Aggies went down to the wire, and it was all up to freshman Benjamin Shiguin, who couldn't just pull through. It was Carolina's first loss of the season, and it knocked them out of the tournament.
Nicole Green represented the Heels at the USA Track and Field Indoor Championships in Albuquerque Sunday and showed why she's one of the best in the country. On her second high jump attempt in the afternoon, the sophomore set a personal best, clearing 6 feet 2 inches, good enough to take 3rd place. Green's jump is the best in the ACC this season by nearly 5 inches. Next up for Green and her teammates are the ACC Championships later this week. Nicole Green is tearing it up on the track and field team, and non-varsity Heels are also logging miles of their own. For more, we bring in reporter Mallory Marks, live from Thomas Brooks Park in Cary. Mallory, what do you have for us?
Moses, spring break is just a few weeks away, and I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to some sweet R&R away from school. But for one student, R&R means the ultimate test of endurance, and it starts right here in Cary.
When you think of college spring break, cruises, beach parties, and road trips come to mind. What probably doesn't? Running 26.2 miles. But that's exactly how UNC junior Maria Kutlis is planning to spend hers.
I do wish I was going to Florida or doing something fun and crazy, but this has just always been a goal of mine, and I know I'll just get more out of this.
And so instead, she'll spend the end of her break completing the Tobacco Road Marathon. And though the timing might seem like an interesting choice, it's because she has bigger plans.
I had the time this semester, and I thought, well, maybe I could qualify for Boston someday, so just decided, how about now?
Kutlis has ran since high school and has run several half marathons, but she knows this will be much different. With the goal of finishing the race in less than 3.5 hours, she's been doing some serious training.
I run about 4 times a week, so I do one really easy run, and then I do a speed intervals or hill intervals workout. And then of course on Saturday or Sunday, I'll do a long run anywhere between 12 miles and 19 miles.
Senior Kara Kochek completed her first marathon at the beginning of 2018. She had one big piece of advice for Kutlis.
I think having a positive energy about it, having positive mentality when going through the marathon and the training, because it can get really difficult.
Kutlis's love for running is enough to keep her positive throughout the experience.
Last weekend I ran 19 miles and I felt like I could go further, which is good.
Kutlis said she'll enjoy the week before the race, relaxing with her family and significantly cutting down on training. The marathon takes place on March 18th in Durham.
The marathon starts on Brooks Lane and will run through Thomas Brooks Park right behind me. And if Kutlis shows the determination we just saw, it should be a race to remember. Back to you.
That's reporter Mallory Marks live from Thomas Brooks Park in Cary. Thanks, Mallory.
He's teeing off on the course and on the competition.
We'll give you a closer look at one of the golf team's brightest stars.
Here at Sports Extra, we're journalists, so we have to avoid any sort of implicit bias, even when we're playing our rivals.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous.
The women's basketball team took on the 4th-ranked Louisville Cardinals on Sunday, hoping to pull off a huge upset. And with the help of stellar inside play from Janelle Bailey and some clutch threes from both Jamie Cherry and Paris Key, it looked like the Heels just might be able to. But the Cards hit a 3 to close out the 3rd quarter and tied the game at 45, and this 3 from Asia Durr at the beginning of the 4th quarter put the Cards up for good. The Heels get outscored 22-12 in the 4th quarter and just seemed to run out of gas. The upset just wasn't in the cards for the Heels as they fall 67-57. They'll return to action Thursday at 7 p.m. in Carmichael for senior night.
The gymnastic team faced off against NC State, Michigan, and Brown in its 2nd quad meet on the season Saturday night. The Tar Heels started on the uneven bars, and senior Madison Nettles led the team on the apparatus. Her 9.825 helped her team earn 6th place overall in the competition. On beam, sophomore Kazi Hishlop tied her career high with a score of 9.9, giving her a 3rd place overall finish. The Heels swept the floor exercise, with Nettles scoring a monster personal record of 9.95 to earn 1st. Kazi Hishlop closed out the score meet with a 9.925 on vault and earning 1st place overall. The Tar Heels finished in 3rd place as a team with a season-high score of 196.05.
On Friday, the wrestling team hoped to end the regular season on a high note. The Heels traveled to New York to take on Cornell. The Tar Heels had momentum coming off a win against Duke, but the number 11 Big Red brought them down to earth quickly. Troy Hillman was a bright spot, improving to 27-4 in a memorable redshirt senior campaign with a 10-7 decision. Ethan Ramos opened the 3rd period of his match with a quick reversal and rode out the final period for a 6-3 decision. Despite Ramos and Hillman's efforts, the Big Red crushed the Tar Heels 36-6. Carolina will head to the ACC Championships on March 3rd with a record of 10-10.
The men's golf team performed really well in Hawaii at the John Burns Intercollegiate. Senior Ben Griffin shot 69 on the day, birdieing his first 4 holes that ended the match tied for 7th place. Freshman Ryan Jared shot 4 under 68 on day 2 and led the Heels to a 5 under par finish in the 2nd round. Senior William Register shot a 3 under 69 on the day of 3 as his team finishes in 2nd. Sticking to the golf course, Ben Griffin has been a standout for the Heels this year, and his team thinks his potential really could be limitless. Leading his team in setting records, Ben Griffin is having a standout senior year at Findlay. His skill level was evident early.
So I started playing golf when I was 1, actually. Pretty young age. My dad put a golf club in my hand right away.
Griffin was actually a member of the Chapel Hill Country Club right across the street from his home course.
I just started developing and playing a lot over there, and as I got better and better, I kept competing in tournaments, and now here I am.
Where Griffin is now is no surprise to anyone, especially his coach.
He's a tremendous young man, in addition to being an extremely talented golfer. When it comes purely to his golf game, I think most people would agree that what stands out is his short game.
Griffin's short game is among the best in the country. His developing long game and his willingness to assume a leadership role are key as well.
He's an extremely hard worker. That's on and off the golf course, and the role that he's taking from a leadership standpoint. Our program has needed that in the past, and Ben, in most situations, guys look to Ben.
Griffin's teammate and roommate for the past 4 years, Will Register, enjoys being his teammate.
It's fun because you always have someone to play with. That's your friend, I guess. We can get competitive, but not like too bad. So we wanted to put us like UNC on the map, kind of for golf, leave our mark, I guess.
And Griffin is helping put UNC on the map. And if excels as a pro, that will help too. Griffin will be back in action with the golf team in San Diego on March 2nd. Victory, yeah!
Sports Extra is trying its hand at the unique Olympic sport.
Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
We did a summer show.
We are live.
Coming up on the October 16th edition of Sports Extra, a huge announcement from the NCAA has Carolina fans breathing a big sigh of relief.
The old banners are still hanging, and the basketball team unveiled a new one in the Dean Dome.
And the Cavs came into Keenan and asked, "Hey Tar Heels, need a new daddy?" All that and so much more as Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Media and Journalism, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics.
It took everything I had not to bust out laughing right there.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
The Winter Olympics are in full swing, and at Sports Extra, we're getting in the spirit of the games.
Our Megan Kane is finding that this popular winter sport is a lot more complex than it seems.
Curling isn't just a game of sticks and stones.
It's just a genteel sport, but yet highly competitive. There's a lot of strategy involved. You can make it as fun and exciting as you want to. You can make it as physical as you want to. It's something that you can do from the time you're 5 until the time you're 95 with no problem.
Whether you're 5 or 95, you've probably seen a curling match in the Winter Olympics. The Olympics play a large role in influencing newcomers.
If the Americans don't do well, it actually helps grassroots curling because people looking on TV go, well, they're not very good, I can do that.
And many have tried. Curling is one of the fastest growing sports in the world, but it's not a love of rocks that keeps curlers coming back.
On league nights, we'll play at 8:30 at night, but we'll be here sometimes to midnight or 1 in the morning afterwards, just hanging out.
The Triangle Curling Club is one of 2 facilities in North Carolina dedicated to curling. This week, the club is hosting a national tournament for the U.S. Women's Curling Association.
We want our visitors to have a great time and a lot of fun because that's what it's all about. So we need good ice, good food, and the bar to be open, and we have it covered.
The club hosts Learn to Curl events and even pizza socials to help newcomers learn the sport.
This is what we do. This is what we love. That's why we volunteer. This is our sport.
Although curling might look easy, it's not. From Durham, I'm Megan Kane reporting.
Now, I've wanted to do curling before, but after seeing Megan fall on her butt like that, I'm not sure if I want to do that.
I can't disagree. The only curling I'm going to stick to is this one right here.
Well, that does it for this edition of Sports Extra. Thanks for watching.
Good night.